color this man father.
Color him father.
I think I'll color him love.
Color him love.
Said I'm gonna color him father.
Welcome to another episode of Color Him Dads, the podcast located in Seattle, Washington, coming from our studios at DADS, the home of dads. Hey, listen, today I'm really excited to be with you today. I have a dear friend of mine, Michael Fesser, who will be entering in some conversation today. The conversation, Michael can tell you about what he's been doing here the last couple of days at DADS. We were down at his organization in Portland, where he's from. The name of his organization is Going Home Too. And again, I'll let Michael talk a little bit about that because he's probably way better at it than I am. Like I would be as talking about dads than he would be. So I just need you to know this is a real dear friend of mine, and he is doing some awesome work in Portland, you know, where he's from. And it's been taken. I've took a band full of people down there to take a look at it because I was just blown away by the good work they're doing. So Michael, without any further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you tell the people a little bit about what you do. Okay?
For once, man, it's a pleasure and honor to be back in the dad's office.
Yeah, amen.
My name is Michael Fesser. Going Home Too is the name of my organization. I have two sides of it. We have a recovery side or a social wellness side, and then I have a safety side. In the safety side, we deal with the highest risks, people to shoot or be shot, mediation, safety plans, funerals, and things of that nature. And our recovery side is just dealing with anybody coming out, have some kind of abuse or anything like that, substance abuse, or just doing that. And we teach classes in the prisons, man, and just down here, man, with dads.
Well, you know what, man, Michael, I want you to talk a little bit more about, because you're doing some amazing work with folks coming out of the institution. And I think that's something that folks need to know about, man. So tell us a little more about that.
So, well, we teach a class in the prison, and it's basically giving these guys, these young men and women, but men majority, giving them a chance at life again, man. So we provide them with, 3-month cell phone. We walk right with them, having them with clothes, getting them set up for jobs, all kind of things like that. And it's very important to navigate these waters with these men and young ladies, because I've been there before. I come from this, and my prayer was always, God, don't let me lose my mother, because I was in federal prison. I helped fix some fathers, and they go get their own kids. But it seems like I've adopted all these kids, man, and fathers. It's just something that's needed in the community, and 80% of the guys and some of the women we deal with got dad issues, got father issues. So I had to call out to somebody that I know is doing that type of work.
Amen. I appreciate that. And, so what we've been doing together, we embarked upon this journey about 7 years ago, and we knew it was going to come a time where I would be able to go down and work with my staff and work with his staff, and we could share some of the opportunities that for the last 27 years we've stumbled upon. We found some really good tools to use, and so what we got blessed with is the opportunity to go down and work with him with the tools that we have learned from. And this was an amazing opportunity. Michael has a couple of facilities down there, and one of them he just gave us for 3 days, and we went in working with his people. I think we had like 15 of your folks that we working with.
Yes, you have 15 of them, of the 32 that we have. Yeah. But yes, you had the great ones.
There you go. And what we were able to do is just bring some of the dad's culture, some of the work that we've been able to do, and share that work with your folks. And I gotta say this, man, I was really touched. One of the questions we usually ask when we're working with people is, what is your fatherhood story? And most people are kind of thrown back by that father story because they've never thought about it. They've never told it. They never approached it. And we did that with your team. And I tell you, a little more than a day, we were asking them questions to your team, and your team was they were spot on. They were coming back with answers, and I think for the first time for me, I started seeing your team respond in a way that showed me they had never had that conversation amongst themselves, right? And it opened up a brand new door, which really made the training, the ones we did in Portland, it made it really easy to walk through that journey with them, man. I was just really moved and touched by it. And this was your staff, which consists of men and women, right?
Yes.
And the stories across the board. Some of them had father's stories, absent father's stories. Some of them had present father's stories. But the common denominator is we found that they all had fatherhood stories, right? Whether it was absent father or present fathers, they all had. And pretty much the same, you know? So Michael, now that you know that about your team, what and where do you see that going from here?
Well, hearing it and seeing it with my team is one thing, but it touched me because you have to understand that I lost my father at a young age, 8 turning 9, on my birthday. So I had to learn how to be a man in a house full of 3 women and said, "You the man of the house."
Wow.
No one knows how to do that, and that trauma. But just understanding where my dad was not in my life and some of the things that I didn't want to see. And meeting you back in 17, I think it was 16 or 17. I've been saying it, Marv. We used to tear the I-5 corridor up. Yes, you're a little older than me, or I'm a little younger at this point, but you can't tell by the grades. But okay. I used to do it the wrong way. Drugs, women, and whatever goes down. So now God has put in my sight, and yours also, after just meeting and talking, this I-5 corridor, we can run this with positive things. And not only just for ourselves, we're doing this for 2 different communities. And
the future, man.
There you go. And so it's really great, and I want to let my staff get this feel of it, but I'd already got it in 2017.
Amen.
I was
Amen.
touched.
Amen.
But you just put the seal on it and said, let's do this work. And we partnered up, and man, we can only go to the top from this, and that's other states, man.
I'm loving that aspect too, because really what it's doing, it's creating a new culture. You know what I'm saying? This is some cutting edge stuff, man. You know, you got 2 communities in 2 different states coming together saying, listen, we have a problem in not only these 2 communities, but in this country, right? And what do? Do we stand by and let it continue to erupt, or do we put our heads together and come together and create an opportunity to be able to resolve some of these issues, right? Or do we wait for government to come by and cut us a check and tell us, here, go fix it? No, we don't, do we?
No, and that's one of the biggest things here that that kind of not blows my mind, but just says this is going in the right direction, because we didn't wait for government to try to put this together. We didn't wait for someone else. We sat down and understood that this is a calling, that this has to be done, whatever it takes, whatever it may takes and who it takes.
Amen.
It takes us.
Amen.
So, man.
So tell me this, I called some OGs that had been around in our continued journey. Do you think? Tell me, what impact do you think they made? And I'm talking about from the board president to the Office of Child Support Enforcement, from the federal level. Tell me, how do you think your team received it? Tell me what stuck out to you in that.
Well, one thing that stuck out, we were able to be hands-on. Like, you hear what organizations do, but you guys walked us through it. We didn't read about it. We walked in the office. We got a tour, and not just a tour. You guys were doing work, and we were able to be a part of that work live, right in effect. And so that touched me and touched the team to go, no, they really doing the work. Because you hear about programs, hey, they're out there doing the work. We've seen it firsthand. And then to have the man come in, the gentleman come in and speak to us and say, this is the position I was in. I was in this federal position. And helping Marv and DADS has helped generations. And those numbers are just, and those numbers don't do the justice because you might have helped that family, but then that family, that young man or that young had a kid,
Right.
and now they know what it is to, have a dad in their life and do it.
Wow.
So it's just, it's almost like, is this real? But I know it is because I'm here.
Yeah, pinch yourself. Huh,
Yeah, I did that a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. Man, the other thing for me, one of your team members asked a question, man, and it made me reflect. He said, when you were a crack addict and you were sitting down and headed to treatment and headed to get your children back, did you envision any of this, right? No, I didn't, But what I did do is I found a faith that I believed in unconditionally, right? And I have two sides of this. So I found a faith that I believed in, but it was for all the wrong things. And I didn't question that. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So when it came the opportunity to find a faith of something that I could believe in that was the best for me, I didn't question that. I just jumped in with both feet, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I always balanced that with the fact that, well, wait a minute, when I was a 5-star general in States Army, I didn't ask no questions. So how I'm gonna be on this side of the team and ask a question? I just felt like that was hypocritical. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just signed up and realized, nah. If this is what I need to do, if this is what you want me to do, I'm just gonna jump in. And the first sign of it was I needed to be a father and a husband. You know what I'm saying? She was the mother of my 3 youngest children. So I had been, God had blessed me with having some examples around me. And it's just like when I was in the streets, I had examples around me, and I followed them to the T. So I just started following these examples to the T, man. And I was watching, an abundance of proper things taking place in my life, right? Here's an example. I'm sitting next to Mike, and we talking about doing this thing, right? And guess what? These are what country leaders do. Leaders of countries, leaders of government. This is what they do. Come together, have a meeting of the mind, and say, okay, let's go forward. Well, that's how I feel, bro, with you. You know what I'm saying?
Vice versa. Seriously, making this happen. And then one of the other things, like, we can't forget, I came to your building, your office. You opened up and said, hey, here, come here.
Yes.
And just seeing the work that you guys do, and in action doing it, I have to say, man, I'm little dads. I know I'm going home too, but I could see, I see a brother doing this work that I can tap into. I don't have to talk to your secretary or tell Marvin to give me a call. No, I got his number.
Yeah, amen.
On speed dial if I need it, and we'll use it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, Marvin, man. And you don't get this in our communities, right? To where brothers can come together and help one another and try to, hey, this is what I done wrong. Don't do this. Or, you're not just done wrong, but where I kind of did some stuff. And so, man, it's a blessing and an honor just to be in the building and now sitting here talking to you, man. I'm smiling, but I'm going, God, you really did this.
Amen.
And so that's what that's about for me.
Well, here's the other thing that that's becoming very apparent to me. When my wife and I, Jeanette, started this program 27 years ago, we didn't know that it was going to become a thing. You know what I mean? That,
right.
Husband and wife teams and being able to navigate waters, right? In fact, I remember one of my partners told me, he said, man, that don't work too well. You know what I mean? Your husband and wife team, you might want to rethink that, right? Well, it's 27 years later, and now I'm witnessing more husband and wife teams come together. They pick their specific roles and they follow it to the T. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, somebody might call me wrong if they caught this thing, but, I know my wife got my back. I ain't got to look over my shoulder about nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
She going to tell me when I'm wrong. She going to tell me when I'm right. She's just that way, and I'd rather hear it from her, somebody that I lay my head on the same pillow, than to hear from somebody that I know don't have my best interest in, right? And so that's the thing that I'm looking towards at you, and I'm watching you and Tanisha, man, handle this. I'm looking at your staff and how they honor both of you guys to that. Man, that's when you know. I remember our partner Johnny, man, he came in, Jeanette and I were getting ready to leave town, and we came back like 5 days later, and he said, man, you got a hell of a team. And I'm figuring out where he going with this. He said, man, no, they wasn't at the water cooler. They wasn't paying no attention. Well, I watched your staff the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they about going home too. They about Michael and Tanisha, right? And so it made it easier for us to come and bring them to the town and give them some insight to see that the training that we were giving them wasn't just, drive-by training, that we really believe in what we do, and we see they really believe in what they do, so it made it really easy to pour into them, man. And I'm just telling you, I can't imagine 10 years from now what this is going to look like, man.
Yeah, and man, I definitely don't want to be selfish with it, but this training has to go further than this I-5 from Portland to Seattle. I don't care which way you run it up the I-5, but it needs to do that because it made an impact on our organization. For me, and knowing you over these years, I always get something from being around you, being in this training, and it's not me getting it, you give it, you and Jeanette. So I'm not here lobbying and campaigning because I want it all. I want it all. But listen, I understand that this stuff here, what you guys are doing, it needs to be done in other places, man. And so, I mean, that's just something for you to think about. So whoever's out there, get your checkbook ready. It ain't about the checkbook, it's about the work that you're doing.
Hey, I have to give it to you, man. Years ago, man, when we first started this work, I remember God telling Jeanette and I that this is something that should happen in every urban center in this country. And it took us well over 25 years, but we're watching that take place. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I've realized that the possibilities, especially after this, are stronger than ever, Now, I might not get to ride it all the way to the end. I always say this, I'm on the backside of the mountain coming down, right? But there's some folks on the front side, such as yourself, on the front side of the mountain coming up, right? So yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's you or the person. Maybe it's my team members that are the ones that are slated to take this thing. But I do believe that the impactfulness of an organization such as DADS can impact this country. And you're making it very visual by saying, no, we didn't have to go to Portland to start a DADS. All we did was partner with another organization that had the same mindset. And I didn't see it like that, but I'm seeing it like that now, right? I'm going home to and DADS. Man, the population, let's for a second talk about your population and how the similarities are for those people who might not get it.
Okay, yeah. Well, my population and the people we deal with, man, it's kind of like three-sided because I'm in the prison teaching a class with those fathers, those dads, right? At least once a week in one prison and then in another prison that same day. So I touch about 50 lives, but 100, I would say, AICs or adults in custody. I'm touching their lives, and so now I get to bring this DADS piece in there that we touch on stuff, but since I've gotten this training and knowing, the trauma, and not just that, how to navigate through a lot of stuff, systems, right?
Yes,
child support, knowing how to get into parenting plans.
Yes, man.
When we start talking like that, those are just one side of the men and women that we get to deal with. And then the other side is on that recovery side, you get all walks of life, man. And this, man, it's just needed, man. I mean, the population that we serve, it's almost Northeast Portland and Portland, in general. We're not big enough, and that's why we have to partner with somebody and get these tools that you have given us.
Wow, that's really unique because number one, my expectation was that it wasn't. I never expected to be this smooth. But when I went down and saw your organization and saw the people coming through the door, and all of them had been, you know what I mean, had been down, and so I know by seeing it with my own eyes, oh, this can have an impact for sure, right? And so I'm just excited about watching it launch, and excited even more so to be a part of that thing launching, man. So man, I'm going to make this my last question, man. I've had an opportunity to be with you for a couple of days, for a week, and it's been really fun getting to know you better, getting to know your team better, getting to, from this point on, getting ready to plan what the rest of this is going to look like for both our organizations. I'm just excited, man. The first thing I'm going to do is meet with my team and see what they got out of it and see what their vision is. Can they buy into the main vision, and do they have any components to go along with that? I'm sure you're probably going to do some of the same things. Talk about that.
Oh, most definitely. Well, I'm not into gardening, but the seeds has been planted. We did that, right? And so now it's just time to water these seeds. And so I'm going to go back with my team, and I know they got a lot out of it because we've been talking about it on the ride up here from the hotel and all that type of stuff, right? So I'm going to go back, talk to them about it. I already know what God says do, so
Amen.
We already planted that seed. We just got to get it in motion and get ready, man. This is going to be a long ride down that I-5, man. It's a long ride. It don't just stop in Portland.
Yeah,
man.
amen.
So we got to hit all them
Amen.
towns, and
Amen.
you'll be in the prisons, man. I don't know if you know it or not. I'm trying to get you at least once a month, man.
Hey, man,
Teach you
listen,
to stay.
you set it up, and I'm there. You don't have to worry about that, because the population we serve is my priority. Okay? I don't want to see a man go back to prison. I want to see him be there with his kids, because if a man keeps going in and out of prison, sooner or later his kids gonna follow him.
Yes.
And we have the ability to stop that, man. You know, my favorite line is, a father's job is to prepare his children for a future that he will never see. I'm living by that one there, man. So Mike, man, it's been a great time here with you, man, and I'm excited about where we're going to go from here. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep our listeners, the watchers, our community, we're going to keep them updated on what we do from this point on, okay, my brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm blessed. Be blessed, man. Okay?
Thank you, man.
All right.
All right.